We were just talking before we went live about the story with Schefter and Jimmy Garoppolo. Fill us in on the angle, and let's get into that discussion a little bit.
Yeah, so his agent, Don Yee, just recently relayed something to Adam Schefter, basically talking about, he's going to be ready to throw, and this and that, all the positivity that comes from something when you don't hear about a player. But what he really said that really caught my eye was the 49ers went back, watched Jimmy Garoppolo, and this is on national TV on ESPN, by the way. The 49ers went back, rewatched Jimmy Garoppolo over the season, and felt like he was better than they previously thought. He sang this at the end of June. He sang this a half a year after the season, pretty much a half year after the season's been over. Where was this at in December? Where was this at in November? Where was this at when they were like struggling to score points, man? Like, why are we doing this dance now? And of course, it's because Jimmy needs a job. They're trying to, whether it's trade, whether it's get teams interested in Jimmy. It sounds like Schefter is just being a mouthpiece for the agent, but it's so ridiculous that we do this, and people are starting to see through Schefter. But like, if you were to hear that segment live of what I just said, like, what would your initial takeaway be?
Now that I thought it was something even newer than what I actually did see that was a couple days ago that Schefter came out and he's like, the 49ers, after reviewing the Jimmy film, have decided that he was better than they thought, but they're still trying to trade him. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what happened to the first time? They didn't watch it closely the first time. It's only your quarterback. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're trying to move them, and who knows? I mean, I'm not sure what to believe. Do you believe that they had a handshake deal all worked out and that whatever the compensation was worked out months ago? Or do you think that they're still in negotiation mode, trying to negotiate for whatever's coming back in return? What's your guess on it sounded like, if we believe the stories that came out earlier, that they had a deal all wrapped up and that the surgery was the one thing that put that deal on the back burner. So do they just make the deal that they had set up, or is that deal off and now there's new teams, new bidders, new offers pulled from the table? I mean, it's hard to put your arms around this thing because we've been expecting this for months and months and months, and yet now you got a quarterback with an injured shoulder and a thumb and this, it's like, who knows what the correct value is? It's all based on supply and demand to some degree, and also the desperation of any individual team. I don't know. What do you expect this deal is going to look like when it comes down? Or do you think there'll be a deal, or do you think they'll ultimately release him?
Yeah, I think we're getting very close to release territory. Think about how many teams need a quarterback. Are the Seahawks really going to make a deal with the 49ers with their history and being in the division? Probably not. We're pretty much down to the Panthers, who drafted a rookie, who have Sam Darnold. Do you want to, are you going to be willing to negotiate just move some funds around to make Garoppolo fit on the salary cap? And what do you do with Darnold in that case? Because then if you do that, you probably have to find a way to move on from Darnold. The Browns are a sneaky team just because, who knows what happens with Deshaun Watson, and their other quarterback is Jacoby Brissett, assuming that Baker gets moved too. So every team that you bring up has asterisks next to them. So because of that, I think there's a good chance that he gets released. It's wild to say that out loud, thinking about where we were a year ago, where we were a half year ago, where we were during the regular season, because there's no chance they're going to release Jimmy Garoppolo, right? All we heard was they made the playoffs. Teams are going to come calling for a quarterback who helped them make the playoffs. And now here we are talking about probably not. Yeah, it's not looking great. I don't know, man. I think it's a long shot that they do end up trading for him. Do you remember way back when there were rumors saying that the Commanders were going to move their 11th overall pick for Jimmy Garoppolo? How far are we removed from that, man?
Well, and then you've had Kyle on the record saying we're not going to release the player. So now if they do release the player, doesn't he have to kind of reconcile that whole public statement? I mean, I don't know. Is that just something you say? Are people going to forget that he said that and conveniently just be like, oh, it's just something that he said way back then? Or are people going to kind of hold him to that statement? Hey, Kyle, you said you wouldn't release this player. Now here you are. It's July and you're on the verge of releasing that player. I don't know. I mean, are the 49ers willing to pay some of that contract down if that's part of the deal? If they, if that's, going to be make the deal easier? I don't know. They, would they be willing to do that? They definitely have a cheap quarterback room without Jimmy. You got Sudfeld and you got Trey on his rookie deal and you got Purdy on his rookie deal. You've got a very inexpensive quarterback room. I don't know. I mean, where are the Houston Texans in this mix? The Texans were the regime that drafted Garoppolo, and they have Davis Mills. Is Lovie Smith and Cesario, are they tied to Davis Mills and the development, or do they want a better quarterback? What happens with Deshaun's money if he gets suspended? Does it just all disappear, I guess, for the year? And then maybe the Browns have money if they can move Baker? Or would the 49ers entertain Baker? Or is that a non-starter? I mean, I don't know what to believe. Will the 49ers entertain Sam Darnold at any price, or is that a non-starter? Do the Niners feel like without Jimmy, they have in Purdy and in Sudfeld, they have their three-man quarterback room? Or would they be open to rehabilitating a Darnold or a Mayfield? And would you, I don't think Darnold's rehabilitatable. I think he's just a bad quarterback who throws a lot of picks and was surrounded by so much talent at SC that it was impossible to get a correct evaluation. I think he's a bust, and I wouldn't try to rectify. I wouldn't try to reclaim him or any kind of talent that he has. But if you said Baker Mayfield and he was willing to be there, I think Baker Mayfield struggles. I mean, the things I don't like about Baker Mayfield are his commercials to production ratio is a little skewed, right? He's gone too Hollywood, and then it seems like the injuries this last year. I mean, he played with so many injuries at the end of the year that it was like he wasn't even the player that you couldn't evaluate him at all. But if you could say Baker wants to be here, and I think that might be attractive from the standpoint of you might be able to rehabilitate Baker, get him signed on a reasonable 2 or 3 year deal, and trade him in a year for something that might be even better than what you get for Jimmy. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways they can play their hand of cards here.